Hello, good morning. Now, I'm shooting this early and I'm directly in the sunshine, so I'm probably going to be squinting. But I'm, first of all, helm. Look at that. This is the blue with the orange and a date, and it's on a yellow rubber strap. Now I'll come back to this helm because I didn't plan to get a helm watch, but it's so cool. I will come back, but I wanted to start this video this morning before it gets too hot. And good morning with my coffee before someone says, "Where's your coffee?" It's here. Now, I can't see the viewfinder, so I don't know if I'm in focus or anything. So I will watch this back later and hopefully you can hear me talk. But today, what I wanted to talk about is number one, where I can put my coffee. And look at the compost. There's a compost situation going on here. And I think you have to have compost these days. It's the way forward. Life's better this way. Have a compost. Now, the other thing that you need as far as a compost, well, in addition to a compost, is you need a swing set like that too there. Now, people from all ages of life require a swing set. It doesn't matter if you're 3 years old or 33 years old. I find that you've still got to have a swing set. Now, I wanted to talk about thin watches and fat watches and large watches because once again it's come to my attention that there are some crybabies out there talking about large watches, well, anti-large watches. In fact, they're large watchists, and I think to myself, hold on a second, I am definitely going to buy this helm because it's thick, chunky, large, and it has the maximum lug width you could possibly have on a wristwatch, which is 22 millimeters. And let me put my coffee down. That is 22 millimeters. Now, the reason that, so that's about as large as you ever want to be with a wristwatch. And I think the diameter, I'll do the helm watches again, but I think the diameter is 42 millimeters. And it's quite a chunky monkey, but that just tells you that the person that's wearing it is in charge, is fully IC, and they have, and look at that. Now, anyone that knows about wristwatches will probably know about this helm, Kuraburi, and it has an NH35, and I can tell actually these days when I wind a wristwatch if it has a Swiss movement or a Seiko NH movement, and that is so interesting because they are characteristic. And I thought to myself, I could really understand any watch enthusiast chat about the mechanical intervention, the mechanical relationship with a wristwatch, because I definitely have that. When I wind this thing, I mean, I don't know if Helm have done something special, but it feels so pristine and precise, the way that the crown pops out. And the first position is the date corrector. The second position is the hacking. I think it only has those two positions. And but the build quality is absolutely fantastic. Actually, to talk about the watch like that, I need to do it the other way around, and I shall do that. It's just that this morning I've come out here, and it's going to be warm today, and I know that I won't be in the mood in another hour to video. And also, I've got a new fancy video thing, and so I was going to try that out. And I said to myself I would sort my hair out and I'd have a shower or something, but I won't have time to do that right now because I've got to do some other things. But look at this weather today in the context of this helm and my grey t-shirt, because as you know, I am a fashion victim, and what a person wears with their wristwatch, you know, it is quite interesting. But to get back onto the topic of thin watches and small watches. Now, When I find out that a wristwatch is below the size of about 39 millimeters, 38 millimeters even, I'm immediately filled with dread. But there is a caveat, and that caveat is the Sinn chronograph. I think it's the 345. Because I think the 358 is the 42 millimeter, but I think the 35 or is it 356? But I think you'll know the one I mean. But Sinn's chronograph and I think the case is 38.5 millimeter with a 20 millimeter lug width. Now, I must remember to pop a photograph of that Sinn chronograph, at least one photograph right now, and that is 38 millimeter. Now the thickness is about 14 millimeter, which I think is an appropriate size, a thickness of a wristwatch, because it has a Valjoux based movement inside it. I think it's the Sellita version, but it's a really nice movement. They've cranked up the power reserve to, I think, 60 hours, and they don't really talk about it. It's just jumped from 48 up to 60, which is lovely. The accuracy is much better, and I think it's within that sweet spot of -5 plus 10. And I forget that the COSC, I think COSC is -4 plus 6. So today you do find that these wristwatches have this lovely accuracy, and I'm very tempted. I haven't checked because I've only had this on the wrist for 5 minutes. I haven't checked the accuracy yet, but there is another a bit of detail there. I'll come back to it in another video. But apart from that Sinn 356 chronograph that's 38.5 millimeter and is chunky, I think any watch smaller than that or thinner than that, which is probably ridiculous. Unless it's an old vintage Rolex or an old vintage watch that really was made about 50 years ago. They tend to be smaller, and I do like those. But today, when I hear, we're moving down to a smaller case, a thinner case, and a manual wind, I want to throw up. When I hear the manual wind bit, I think, hold on, the sheep have taken control of the watch industry as everyone heads over towards manual wind because they think, well, they are in some cases, removing a millimeter off the thickness of a case. But then you have to manually wind the watch. Some brands have even taken an automatic movement and they've removed the winding rotor to call the watch a manual wind. Now, how can you do that? How? Why would you do that? It's like self-sacrifice. Or stick in a movement that has a day and date complication and then simply don't have a dial that displays those complications, so you have the ghost feeling. So when you pull the crown out, it's in a ghost position where normally the date and day corrector would be. I think this is shocking. And it's a reason why movement manufacturers like ETA, I believe, Sellita, I believe now, Seiko, they actually produce a manual wind movement or a three-hand second movement only. That has to be the way forward, because that leads me on to another subject about manual watches. The movement is part of that wristwatch. It is such an important aspect of the wristwatch, and doing something like taking the automatic winding mass off or having a ghost date wheel is terrible. It's absolutely shocking. Now, I have to caveat, I don't want people to think I'm utterly horrible and take offense, because I don't really mean it. Well, I sort of do mean it quite a bit. For me, I certainly don't want any ghost positions on the manual movement, and I don't want the automatic winding mass removing. Build a watch around the movement, not the other way around. Have I said that the right way? Yes. Build a watch around the movement, and if a movement has loads of complications, I would use all of those complications. Anyway, a very quick hello. It's a good morning to everyone, and this sun is making me feel hot now, so I'm going to say ciao. But I did want to say a very good morning and helm information coming, and also more mechanical watch talk coming, and eventually we'll get back on to G-Shock. Hope everybody is well, and speak again very soon.